I prefer the second one.
Yes, so we're talking about, cult status. Which film do you think gained these
Evil Dead
films?
2.
Okay. Let me finish my sentence. Jesus. So why do you think that is?
It's got everything that a cult film should have.
Okay.
It's got the B stars in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's got bit of heavy gore, a lot of comedy gold in it.
Yeah.
We'll come on to favourite scene later, but that film has got my favourite scene in all three films. It is so funny in parts.
It really has got some iconic stuff in it, like the possessed hands, the all the furniture laughing, and it has quotable quotes and much more memorable characters beyond Ash himself.
Yes, I just have to say, I know there's a journalist from Empire called Chris Hewitt, who I've chatted to a little bit, and this is his favourite film, and I understand why. It has got so much in it. The only thing that it doesn't have in it, which I think it could have, is a musical number. Could you imagine that?
I cannot imagine that. Bearing in mind we were talking to someone about the Evil Dead musical.
Yeah, I think was that?
It was Jerry, wasn't it?
Yeah, Jerry.
On Instagram.
It that came to London. I think it was here for, I can't remember if it was 4 days or 4 weeks, but it was a very short run.
Not long, yeah.
Yeah. But it wasn't a case of it wasn't a success. It was more a case of basically people would like, we're going to go home now.
Right. Okay.
So, but yeah, as far as I'm concerned, this has got everything that a great film should have. I like the hammy acting.
Mm-hmm.
It
works in this context.
It really does. You get modern films like The Room, the Tommy Wiseau, I think that's his name. The Room, which I've never actually seen.
Mm-hmm.
You get things like Batman vs Superman, which was a bit sort of like it had a budget, but it was still pretty crap. My mum's named Martha thing, no, it's not. That doesn't make a good film. This is one of those films which should have been pretty bad, but it's actually amazing.
It just by some kind of strange chemistry, everything works to make it a great film. And I think the same applies to Army of Darkness, because that is ridiculous. And, you've got all these kind of other actors doing their best to kind of play these, fairly serious...
the king, yeah.
medieval roles. And then there's just, Bruce Campbell, storming in, which just is so brilliant. And
Your
works.
shoelaces are untied.
Yeah. It works so well for comedy value.
Yeah.
Well, hello, Mr. Fancy Pants. It's just ridiculous, and I love it for that.
Yeah, have we moved on to Army of Darkness then?
Apparently so.
I recommend Evil Dead 2. If you haven't seen Evil Dead 2, what are you doing with your life?
Yeah.
Sort it out.
Exactly.
Army of Darkness. Right, so this is technically the film that I saw the first, in the way of I didn't run and hide underneath my bed.
I think I probably saw this one first as well, because it's much tamer.
And it was much easily accessible as well.
Yeah.
This wasn't like a massive blockbuster or anything like that, but it was readily available,
Yeah, and doesn't kind of have the controversy of the others.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is okay, fine, it is what it is. Bear in mind, after Army of Darkness, Sam Raimi went on to produce and write Xena, Warrior
Of
Princess.
course. Also occasionally featuring Bruce Campbell.
Yep, and also doing Spider-Man.
Yep.
So,
Also featuring Bruce Campbell.
Exactly. Bruce Campbell.
At least someone's giving him work.
Yeah. Well, he's been in Coen Brothers films, but he grew up with them.
Yeah.
People give him films.
Because
that isn't a statement. That's me asking.
Oh yeah, people give him films.
Yes. Spielberg, if you listen to this, Bruce Campbell, I recommend him. He's a future star.
Sure.
Army of Darkness. It is very funny.
It is
and
hilarious.
Camp as hell.
Exactly. It's just so silly, and there are just so many moments, even if they pop into my head, they make me laugh out loud.
Yeah.
You know, I was reading through, trying to figure out what my favourite quote would be, and I was reading through the quotes from Army of Darkness, just kind of giggling to myself, because you can just see it in your mind's eye, and it really is Bruce Campbell at his campy comedy best.
Yeah. I will regularly say quotes from Army of Darkness in my everyday life, whether that be in my personal life or in my work life. I have said it. I got a funny feeling I used a certain line in a meeting.
Brilliant.
I had. Anyway, I've just got to say, this film is so funny. It is very campy. We watched the actually American version, which is considered in the UK, that's actually considered the director's cut. Mm-hmm. There's a bit more scenes when he's in the windmill with the little glass versions of him, and also the ending, spoilers ahead, we watched the ending where he wakes up in an apocalyptic
he sleeps
London.
Too long, basically.
Yeah, the 4 years one. I prefer the S-Mart ending.
Yeah.
I just think that's very fun.
It does more justice for his character, I think.
It does. Although, I'd still love to see an Evil Dead 4, but it's never going to happen.
No.
I mean,
well, we've got the series, yeah.
Which, the first series is good. Mm. The second series kind of loses it a little bit.
Yeah, I just didn't, it didn't kind of click with me immediately. I think it's worth revisiting, perhaps, but...
yeah.
I don't have too much of an opinion on it.
No, sure. Yeah. I think TV series is good. I recommend it. I need to watch it more. Which is your favourite ending?
Definitely the S-Mart one.
The S-Mart? Oh, right, good. I'm glad about that.
I'm more familiar with I think it was only with you that I knew that there was the S-Mart ending. I think the version that I originally saw was the...
apocalyptic one.
Yeah,
that was the first UK version.
Yeah.
In the late 90s on the DVD when it was released, I think they had the S-Mart was known as the alternative ending.
Yes, I think that's right.
Basically, there's 4 different versions of this film, and the little changes that you have in the Italian version are very minuscule. Mm-hmm. Very, very minuscule, and they have the apocalyptic ending. Mm-hmm. In Germany, they have the S-Mart ending, and again, little changes. The director's cut that we know over here in the UK is the one that has the apocalyptic ending, and again, it has all those little bits that are in the German version and the Italian version. And you can kind of tell watching them because the screen goes a little bit fuzzier. Oh, you can
really tell. It's awful. The version we watched, I mean, I don't know if there's a remastered version now.
They did. I think Arrow did Evil Dead films.
Because our Army of Darkness copy it's very, very clear which are kind of the cut scenes.
Well, there's another one in America. This film is known as Army of Darkness, but the titles say Bruce Campbell versus the Army of Darkness. Yeah. In the UK, we got Bruce Campbell stars in the Army of Darkness, the Medieval Dead.
Okay.
Which it was originally supposed to be known as.
Ah, that makes sense.
So, and I prefer that title.
I like that title, yeah.
It was, basically they said, we can't call it Evil Dead 3 because Evil Dead 1 and 2 didn't make any money. We want this to make money.
Fair enough.
So that was really the only reason why. Let's talk a little bit about gore. Gore.
Yeah.
We have recently watched a very, very gory film, which was called what, Freya? No, that's not what it was called. I was asking.
L'Intérieur.
Which is translated into...
Inside.
Thank you. I just wanted you to speak French to me.
Well, it's not very good French, but there you go anyway.
Merci beaucoup. I don't know. So, yeah, I want to talk a little bit about gore because I used to be a bit of a gore head. Mm-hmm. And then I met Freya.
It's a very strange thing. We've talked about it before that even though I am basically soulless when it comes to horror films and gore...
we're both desensitised, essentially, but I see that as a plus.
Yeah, I mean, it's completely water off a duck's back for me. It doesn't bother me in the slightest, not because I, don't have a heart, it's because, well, it's not real.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, you've lost your taste for it. I think I was like, yeah, horror, let's watch it all. And, you obviously got sick of it because of me. So
I think I tried to almost not scare you, but freak you out by making you watch things like, I'm trying to think, probably I Spit on Your Grave, Itchy the Killer, Human Centipede. In fact, Human Centipede was one of the first films that me and you watched together.
Yeah.
And I introduced you to Martyrs. Martyrs, for anybody who hasn't seen Martyrs, watch the French version.
Yes.
Because it is far superior. It's gruesome, it's horrible, but also it is a stunningly beautiful film.
it's excellent, yeah. Really
It is
excellent.
fantastic. I highly recommend the French version of Martyrs, which is the original version. But I tried to freak you out with these things.
That'll show you.
Yeah, it didn't work, did it?
But no, of course not. Of course not.
We could talk about. I could talk about the history, like going back to like 1928's. What's it called? It's going to come to me. Un Chien Andalou.
Oh, with the eye slice.
Yeah, the cow eye.
Chien.
Yeah. So what?
Chien.
Chien. Sorry, I don't speak French. But yeah, something like that, which I have seen. It's gruesome, but not that bad.
Yeah.
I
think in the grand scheme of the history of gore, Evil Dead is not from my perspective, talking in this day and age, it's not one of the most gory.
No, far from. Neither is something like
trilogies.
Halloween.
No, definitely not. And I
Friday
think
13th is a little bit in parts.
yeah, but it really kind
And
of
definitely not Nightmare on Elm Street.
No. Well, that's just hammy as well, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
over the top. But, it definitely shows the kind of oversensitivity of, the censors back in sort of the 80s and early 90s where just nothing was tame enough. And
Well,
they
you
just
only
didn't
have
want
to look at things like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is not gory in the slightest. It's suggested, but it's not gory. Same with The Exorcist. It's not particularly gory. It's gruesome, but it's not gory.
No.
There's a couple of deaths in that. And I remember somebody saying that Poltergeist was gory and horrible.
Not at all.
It's not. No, there's the face peeling scene, which is that's a
I think
bit
that's
horrible.
the only real gore in the film, though.
Yeah, exactly.
There's skeletons and whatnot.
There's
but...
only one death in that film, and that's a bird. It's
yes.
true.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think that Evil Dead isn't that gory.
No.
Yes, it's a bit horrible, the bit with the pencil in the ankle. The second one, there's just a ton of blood, but it's fun.
Yeah.
And the third one, there's like nothing.
No.
But it's still fun.
Absolutely, yeah. So I think, I definitely think the first one is the goriest, but it's all kind of, as we said,
Plasticine
and Flymo and, Play-Doh and who knows what else.
Things like, do you remember Celebrity Deathmatch?
Yes.
That's gorier.
Yeah, that's true.
And very similar, actually.
And very similar to...
That's a good comparison. Well done, Matt.
Well done, you. Pat yourself on the back.
Let's show Ted some love.
Oh, Ted Raimi.
Yeah.
Good old Ted.
He's great.
He is great. So now he doesn't appear in the first one.
He does.
He does?
He does.
Where?
He's the woman in the basement.
Is he?
Yeah.
And in the second one?
In the second one, yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, they call, I think it's...
Poor Ted.
Ghoul Shrimp, they call him as.
Oh, Shemps, yeah.
Shemp, sorry. That's Ted Raimi.
That's amazing. Oh, I didn't realise it was in... I knew about the second one, because you can tell.
Yeah. But Ted's had a very interesting career. He's been in a lot of horror. He was crushed in Wishmaster. He was J. Jonah Jameson's assistant in the Spider-Man films.
Yeah.
And he's very funny in those.
Yeah.
Obviously, he was in Xena.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's another, he's got the same kind of opportunities as Bruce Campbell, is that, friends and family will give him a role.
Yeah. But yeah, it's Ted Raimi. If he's in a film, you're in for a winner.
Yes, I love him. I really love him. And, it's disappointing if you don't see him.
Can I just quickly say, I don't know if you know this, but I like a film called Lava Lantula.
Right.
Right, starring basically everybody.
Can't believe this is the first time I'm hearing this.
Basically starring everybody from the first Police